Hello and welcome to another week's episode, another every other week kind of episode. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Beat Review live stream. That's what I'm trying to say. Beat Review today, no themes, no nothing like that. But as we're starting to get this live going, and it seems to be sending out the video, and that one also works. Right now, the window is open for you guys to send me your beats. It's supposed to be not over there. It's supposed to be not that one either. I think it's just over. Do I need to set this up for real? Yes, I do. Have I? No. Send your beats to beatreview@accuratebeats.com right now. Please send your beats if you want to be featured. Because for anyone who's new to this concept, what we're doing here is we're just playing beats from people in the community, and we're listening to the beats. We're giving them a little bit of feedback, me as well as the members in the chat room. So right now, my hope is that anyone who's here who makes beats sees this thing and just sends something in, and then we're going to play the beats. We're going to talk about them and do all the stuff that we normally do. And since a few weeks back, I've been trying my best to be a little bit faster with things, to just not, talk about one production for the majority of the session or whatever. Being a little bit quicker about it and just not getting into the crazy amount of details that I used to. Sometimes I'm going to allow myself to do that, but you know what it is. Most of you guys have been here before. And speaking of you guys, let's see who we have available. Keto Beats, Made So Well, Salberts, Symphonic Beats, Lom Beats, Icon74, Carbon Vibes, Chris52, Beat Owl, Kane TV, Mosphere, Binge, Nate G, all the people that we know since before. This is more and more starting to feel like this is not something I do like publicly and anyone can come in. It's just a lot of recurring guests, the same people coming back every other week, and I love it. It's not that I don't welcome newcomers and people who hasn't been here before. It's wonderful to get that stuff too, but almost feeling like I know you guys. Like Carbon Vibes has been featured a lot. Kane TV has been played a lot ever since the start of this. Chris52 is my IRL friend. J to the K is there again. It feels like a more kind of comfortable situation than ever to just be able to see a lot of familiar names in the chat. Love it. 2 points today. First of all, we're not doing a theme today. Last episode we had a Halloween theme, and it turned out amazing. The stream itself was a lot of fun, and the quality of the beats sent in last episode, boom, just crazy stuff. And I want to make that known. You don't have to be a super talented, super experienced beat maker to be featured. Anyone who sends anything in has a chance to be played and be reviewed and whatever. So we don't have any thresholds here. We're kind of not asking for quality at all. If you've made something and you want to run it through us and check out what you can do better or whatever, you're more than welcome to send anything in. You don't have to be experienced. You don't have to be talented. It could be your first little thing ever. It's still interesting to hear. So if anyone has any ideas or suggestions for whatever theme to do next, sure, we're going to do a Christmas theme around that time, but it's a few weeks away. So if anyone has any ideas about anything else to do in terms of a theme, hit me up in the chat or just add me on Instagram or send me an email or whatever. I'm easy to get in touch with, because having a theme made a lot of sense and it was a lot of fun. I could see myself creating some samples in here and provide you guys with samples. We have been talking about that before, I know, but doing something like that could be cool. or just deciding some type of theme for people to make beats around seems to make a lot of sense. If it's samples provided by me or not, I don't know. Any ideas are welcome in the chat room, for sure. And the next thing I want to point out here is, I guess it's already kind of obvious if you have been here before, I am catching a cold, big time. I have this, it's still in the beginning stages of a real man cold. I feel it in my lungs, I feel it in my stomach, I feel it in my head, my throat, my whatever it's called up here. I'm catching a cold and I'm gonna sound like this or even worse during this stream. And my energy might be going up and down. I don't know. I don't have a fever yet, but I feel that it's coming. 100%. Winter's coming, a cold is coming. I'm in Sweden, so the weather is becoming nasty. So, right now you can send in your beats, beatreview@accuratebeats.com. Please make sure to do that if you want to be featured, because it's a cool and nice experience for everyone. Let me try to add that one in here too real quick. Let's do paste reference. Boom, there we are. Send beats to beatreview@accurate. That's the right email and everything. Sample country music? Yeah, that's an idea. Sample themes would be cool for sure. Yeah. A lot of people thinks that's a good idea, and I do too. Since the last episode, I mean, we had a lot of horror, a lot of spooky music, and doing something like that on theme seems to make a lot of sense. You should definitely make some samples. Yes, I know that is an option, to just spend a few hours and just make music for you guys to sample. It would make sense. I think it could be cool. My mustache theme is the best idea. So you want to make beats about my mustache? Does that even make sense from a musical standpoint? I don't know. I don't think so. But I think it's time to stop talking about whatever and start listening to beats from you guys. And yeah, I have a couple of cans of Coke Zero because I just need the caffeine, I didn't have time to have coffee, so this is what it is. And just to make sure that this is communicated too, I got a few submissions today earlier than you're supposed to send them in. Today, that works. It's not that many beats yet, so if you send something at 1.5, 2 hours ago, it's fine. You're still in the thing. And we're going to try to play something. We're going to start with the first one that came in, actually, from Lom, Lomm, who I saw in the chat room, I think. Lom. Hey, classic hard-hitting hip-hop beat med svenska samplingar. That's classic hard-hitting hip-hop beat with Swedish samples. So this is from a fellow Swede, and we have a beat made with Swedish samples, which is never a bad idea, Swedish music is often great, sometimes really bad. In this case, I guess you picked some samples that aren't really bad, because that doesn't make sense. And let's align my windows. I'm doing other stuff on this computer between the streams, and everything gets messed up. Lom. Jesus, it seemed to come through. I think you guys heard that. Let me try again. I'm messing things up. I've done this for years at this point. Still don't know what I'm doing. We are live. That one works. And right. Yeah, that's tonight's first beat. Awesome stuff by Lom. And when it comes to feedback, first of all, a great way to start the show, for real. Nice and punchy, super hard-hitting and dark and kind of vibey. Like it a lot. Oftentimes we talk about the frequency ranges and like what's placed where and how does like the bass contrast with it, whatever. In this case, we had a full spectrum of sound. It sounded large, it sounded big. I liked it. A part of me kind of feels like, the main idea for the track here, like the sample chop, it's good. It's cool. And the sample with the strings and everything had a lot of low frequency material in it. So the bass line became a little bit, hard to distinguish what's what in this case. Which could be fine and could be also a thing to be considered and thought about. Could I improve that somehow? Not that you necessarily have to, but still. Having a really defined bass line behind all this could add something to the vibe of it, for real. Maybe like scooping some of the low frequencies out of the sample and adding a more distinct kind of bass line. Maybe. Maybe not. My main point of criticism for this one is that it's not monotone, it's not uninteresting, it's not that, but as someone who makes beats myself, I can see things being added here. In terms of the vibe, I don't know, like an acoustic kind of piano on some high notes going like bling, 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 bling. Could add to the vibe of it and like switch it up a little bit. Right now it feels pretty much like it's drums and the sample. I think there's space to add some more stuff here to make it a little bit more interesting. Not that it's not interesting, because it is. It's a dope kind of foundation for something, but there is space to add more. A vocal sample, some piano, something else. Maybe. If you want to keep it like minimalistic for a rapper or whatever, forget what I'm saying. But, and we also had a switch up that made a lot of sense. That one pulled its work. It's good. I like it. But I can't help but feeling that you could have added something more here. Just to add some flair, some flavor, if nothing else. Love the drums. The hi-hat is too loud for my taste, but I'm also wrong 9 times out of 10. So the hi-hat sticking out like that is maybe not a big thing. What's impressive here is like the massiveness. It's heavy, it's loud, it's in your face, but it's still kind of dynamic and it still has, good work. Lom, thanks a lot for blessing us with this one and allowing me to open up the show with something that's actually really good. And Lom says, I totally agree about the bass and adding some extra. Okay, so I'm maybe not wrong this time around. That also happens sometimes. Sometimes I'm actually kind of right. But that's the thing I do. Whatever I do, I create some kind of loop and then I just add more and more and more. Sometimes I go overboard myself and I just do too much. Sometimes it's not bad though to just have something, add an element of something. Strings like this huge evil kind of string sounds should go really well with an acoustic piano. That's what I'm thinking, but whatever. Lom says, thank you for playing it. Thank you for submitting it. I gotta point that out. Thanks a lot for submitting it. Everyone who submits beats to this thing makes this possible, just sitting here and talking about that wouldn't work. It's your submissions that makes this work and makes this fun. I'm just trying my best to add something to it. Can I send a beat? Yeah, you can. It's right up here. Send beats to beatreview@accuratebeats.com. Please don't send me links to YouTube, SoundCloud, whatever. Send me a link to a file or an actual file. That's what I want. That makes everything so much easier. Because I'm playing the file locally on my computer, and for the stream, it just works better. And talking about stuff that works better. I don't know. Trying to do transitions. What's up with that? We need to dive right into the inbox again to find more beats. And right now, it looks like I don't have that window available to me. Now I have. Cool. LOM has been played. Boom. Moving along to the next one. That comes from Dobby. Hi, Accurate. My beat maker name is Dobby. I make beats since 2019, and I work with the Machine Mark III. Here's a beat I've made this morning. Hope you make a review. Yes, I am about to. You made this one this morning? That's impressive in itself for someone who tends to work really slowly with everything. Oh. That one also had some depth to it, right? Now, how do I normally do this with my window to not... Oh yeah, we can leave a little bit of a border right there and just leave this one there. Switch to OBS and VLC and it's all good to go. All right. All right. Let's go. Just like that, it just ended. I wasn't prepared for that. But hey, this is a really cool submission from Dobby. This is cool. This is different. This is different from most of the submissions we get here, because getting something that's that kind of uplifting and high energy is, you know, it's cool. It's really cool. Nice and uplifting and powerful and fun. Built around these massive like horn stabs. Bam, 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 bam. You know, being a fan of like Isaac Hayes and stuff like that. This is cool. I like this. In terms of feedback and criticism here, I think the weakest part, by far, the weakest part with this track for me is the drums. It's not that the drum samples doesn't work, because they could, but there's something with the mixing here that should be kind of changed around to my ear. It's nice and punchy and hard, but the drums doesn't really play the part. It's like the drums doesn't really fit into everything else. And the bass line with all the figures going boom, 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 super nice touch, super cool. And also the piano things going like on 8 notes and whatever. Love it. Nice and solid, high quality production, good fucking stuff. The drums, it's hard to explain what it is. It might just be a matter of compression or just overall volume of things. But I think the beginning here is like the best example. With the filter stuff and everything, you're really building it up. And that chord change right there is cool, and it adds a lot of stuff, but there's something about the horns not completely following that I'm kind of like, I want to be, the horn stabs needs to change. That bass though. Focus on, help me out, I might be wrong here, but to me, it feels like the horn stabs doesn't change chord in the same way as the chords. No. I might be wrong. That actually kind of worked. Yeah, the snare needs to hit way harder. That's my final say. And sure, since you have that much energy and so much stuff going on, you could also add some of that, some ghost notes or something on the drums, because right now it's like pretty straightforward. So adding like booms, you know? Yeah, you could add more drum hits if you wanted to, like, take this energetic, high energy kind of vibe and just boost it even more to get a better match between the two. But I think the main issue here for me is definitely the drum sounds and like the power and the vibe of it. In terms of an overall production, this is really cool. You're doing a lot of great stuff with the horns, and the bass line adds a ton. And I like all the piano things and stuff that's been added here. It's a nice and solid arrangement. I don't have much to complain about, more than like the drums. They could fit into the thing better. And I don't say this often, but I could hear like a female vocalist group on this doing some kind of R&B, you know, early Destiny's Child kind of stuff. Doesn't necessarily have to be a rapper on this. I don't know. Nice track. Thanks a lot for submitting this one by Dobby. It's a nice and solid production, high quality stuff across the board. the drums needs to be changed up a little bit. Improved, made harder, whatever you want to say. Now we have a submission from Icon74. Are you in the chat room? This was submitted a few hours ago. But I'm still allowing you to be played because I'm trying to be nice. Icon74 here, and here is my beat for the stream. It's called Death Strike. So that's kind of cool. Death Strike. Let's play Death Strike by Icon74. Right now. The volume is a little bit tricky sometimes. Here we go.
The Eagle Claw was devised by Usually in the Ming period. It has 108 patterns. These were developed from 50 piercing attacks. This fighting style concentrates on the bones, sinews, muscles, and the more fragile joints. His kung fu is excellent. His kung fu is excellent. Always be merciful. It's really quite simple. Respect the way. Be true, Shaolin.
All right. I've decided to play 2 minutes of the tracks. If the track is like 2:15, like the last one, it's going to be played. This one is 3.5 minutes long, so I'm going to cut it right there. But hey, this puts me in this position where I need to do some kind of explanation or disclaimer or whatever. But, you know, we're listening to beats of all sorts of different genres and different sound qualities and by different producers with different ears and whatever. And that's not always fair to everything, because this beat is dope. This is cool stuff. But this super vintagey, lo-fi kind of vibe, in contrast to something like this, you know, then it sounds even more messed up and even like having even worse sound quality than it actually does. But yeah, someone pointed out it sounds like MF Doom, someone pointed out Wu-Tang, and I mean, when you're adding like samples from old, you know, kung fu movies, we're all gonna think about RZA. We're all gonna think about Wu-Tang. And there's also a simplicity to this beat that kind of reminds me of RZA's style of making stuff. This super low quality sample chopped up like this and added drums that's pretty much on the grid, kind of dum dum ka dum dum ka dum 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 ka. It's not bad. But maybe it's just me being cranky and like catching a cold and becoming sick, being a little bit like that. But allow me to be that way if I want to. On this one too, I kind of feel the same thing. There's a mismatch between like the style of the sample and the sound of that stuff and the drums. It doesn't feel like they're tailored to fit one another perfectly. The drums are pretty much on grid, and that could be done, and that could be cool. But the drums here doesn't match the dirtiness of the sample at all.
His kung fu is excellent. Always.
Well, it does, maybe a little bit, but there's something about the vibe here that doesn't really glue things together in terms of taste, you know?
Always be merciful. It's really respect the way.
And, you know, Icon 74 has sent in some stuff before, and everything doesn't sound like this. So this is a creative choice to make, to use samples like that, to have this really lo-fi, low quality stuff. And that's not bad. I like it. I think it's cool, but you have to view it in a different way than something that's supposed to be high definition and high quality, you know? It's supposed to be dirty and grimy and whatever. We have to accept that and I just... but still, the drums could match that vibe a little bit more, I think. Great job with adding all the samples. That makes everything just make sense. Because these Kung Fu samples doesn't fit into everything. But in this case, it's a perfect match like that. What I'm talking about, that's not a perfect match, is just the drums.
It's excellent. Always be merciful.
And I have a hard time myself using samples like that without like adding more stuff to it that makes it feel more nuanced. And that's not necessarily something you have to do. In this case, I think it works really well as it is. But there's, yeah. Rockwell has entered the chat room. Hello, James, and welcome. Yeah, you're late again. You had a meeting? Okay. You're here now. That's good. Not everything has to be listened to on our modern standards. Great job on the vibe. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's really cool to have submissions like this too. We just have to acknowledge that we have to view it and listen to it in a different way. I always have problems with drums for some reason. Can never get them right. That's from Icon 74 himself. Well, it's not that you totally missed the mark here, but it's just something with the flavor here that I think the snare needs to have more cut through a little bit more. Maybe you can do something with side chaining, one thing to the next. Adding a little bit of swing, as Martin points out, could also be a thing. And the kick drum is really like high up in the frequency range. Doesn't have a lot of pure bass frequencies in it. And maybe you don't have space for that because the sample itself is so gritty. But I would try to add like a layer of drums. Something that's more crispy on the hi-hat and something that's more subby with the kick drum. And just playing around with the balance there to make it cut through, but not like over, like take the entire thing over. I don't know, but in terms of the flavor and the vibe of this, I mean, this fits perfectly into some kind of, you know, more backpacky kind of beat tape. I want to listen to this one on a cassette, you know? It's one of those. Good job, and thanks a lot for submitting this one, Icon 74. I like it, I appreciate it. I still have my complaints, but you know me, that's what we do here. Now, we have another track to check out from JK. Hey, Ak, here's another beat for the review. Typical boom bap stuff made on machine. Started with drums, played some piano chops over it and layered it with 2 different samples for a hook and so on. Peace, JK. Sent via Proton Mail, and it still arrived just fine, and we don't have any issues there. That's good. That's good to know. So JK with a track made on the machine. A bunch of samples and some added piano and stuff. Let's go. Yeah. It's been over 2 minutes, so I'm gonna take the liberty to talk over this. It's a nice outro to talk over. 100%. You know, when I hear beats like this, with this kind of vibe, I always think about one specific Swedish producer who used to make stuff that sounded kind of like this, called MB. However, this is cool. This is right up my alley when it comes to the vibe and the style of it. It's really cool. And there are some things to talk about here. Some like creative choices that I think makes a lot of sense in this context. Like, first of all, the drum pattern, for instance. I make the same mistake over and over by going like boom, ba-com, boom, boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. You know, trying to be all fancy with the drums. In this case, the drum pattern is boom, boom, ka, boom, boom, ka, boom, boom, ka. You know? Sometimes it doesn't need to be more complicated than that. You know, if that works, it works. European hip-hop from 2002 kind of vibes. Yeah, very Loop Troopy. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. MB Loop Troop. That's the guy. There are some stuff going on with the audio quality of the sample here that I think could be polished and taken up to another level. Just adding some high frequencies on the EQ, maybe a little bit of reverb, maybe something like that to make it shimmer and make it shine, and like getting all those string instruments. It's a guitar or some kind of Asian stuff. To make that just pop out of the mix a little bit more, to add that, to really like set that vibe of this is what we're doing, this is the vibe, you know. The chords in the background works really well with everything else. And everyone points out the seagulls in the background. Yeah, I see what you did there. And I totally understand why. But maybe it's a little bit loud. The seagulls and all the atmospheric, like environmental sounds could be taken down just a notch. And maybe it's just a matter of the mastering here, because the bass line has a lot of potential too. Because we have the kicks being like dum dum ka, dum dum ka. You have that dum dum ka, dum dum ka. It's not an actual kick drum; it's just the bass line going da dum 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 dum. And to me, that's a level of like musical understanding that makes a lot of difference in a beat like this, because that bass line adds to the swing that you don't really think about unless you don't make music yourself and kind of understand that stuff. The bass line is actually kind of a power move on this one. Dum dum, ba-dum dum dum dum. It's nice. It's nice. The overall mixing here could be improved. It could be a little bit deeper in terms of the bass. It could be a little bit punchier in terms of the treble. But I'm sure it's not like finished in terms of mastering. Plus massive distortion? What are you talking about? The seagulls are fire. Yeah, maybe they are. I don't hate on the seagull sound samples. They add a vibe to it, like atmosphere and whatever. But maybe just. And having those two instruments counter each other like that, like call and response kind of thing. I always fall for that stuff. Love it. Adam says, the beat sounds like it's trying to give a hug. I love it. Yeah, me too. It's nice and cozy and relaxing and friendly. There's nothing evil and mean about this one, but it has some depth still. Appreciate this one a lot. Thanks a lot for sending this one in. And it came from, let's see who it came from. I can't remember. And I closed my window again. Fucking Windows on a Mac. Beat review. That's the email. This one came from JK. Okay. And I guess JK said something in the chat, and I am sorry if I missed it, because I'm trying to do all kinds of things at once, you know? So, let's see what we have for the next submission. This one comes from Ash and Barky, who has been featured before. Doesn't say much in the email. It's just, hey, accurate, love the show. Here's my submission for the next episode. Cool. The track is called Dumb Luck by Ash and Barky. Let's load that up into this. And let's go.
I was pretty much trying to do my own thing from the moment that I stepped into this industry. And to some degree, maybe that makes it harder. I think it's harder to rely on dumb luck than it is to rely on some intelligent moves and some hard work and putting the best music out that you possibly can.
Okay, that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the 5th beat for today. And we have been live for 50 minutes. We need to speed things up. This was a different kind of track altogether. Nice vibe, kind of melancholic and a little bit trip-hoppy, someone pointed out. DJ Shadowish vibe, I don't know about that, but yeah. Some people are saying something about the hi-hats. So are the hi-hats good or are the hi-hats bad? I don't know. I can determine that myself.
Best music out there.
Okay, so the hi-hats are kind of cold, but we also have this kind of open hi-hat on every other snare. Psh, that's a choice. But impressive here to me is like the number of layers of stuff. The choir, like the vocal, not taking up too much space, and then like. It's here. Yeah, just one of those tracks that's just like a collage of different sounds that just works together. There's something about the mix here, maybe again with the mastering and whatever. It feels like this really low subby bass works with the track, but it kind of makes everything else sound a little bit weak. I don't know. And a drum break and those vocals and the different. This is good. I like this, but there's something about the balance of the mix that could be tweaked to make it pop. But yeah, the Rhodes and the other clav keys later stuck out a bit. Maybe too direct and synthy compared to everything else. Could be in a more ambient space. Yeah, there was some kind of solo going on. Right there. And atmosphere and stuff going on. Maybe it's a little bit too much. I don't know. And this counter melody over here, I think it helps in the production in general because it kind of sticks out in a way that's adding something, but maybe the sound itself is too synthy. I don't know. And yeah, a drum break like that always kind of works. And this, sometimes we talk about beats being like minimalistic. This is, to me, like the opposite of that. It's not minimalistic, but it's not too busy. It's kind of nicely balanced between a lot and a little, but there's a lot. Is this a track for a rapper? I doubt it. I think this is supposed to be like an instrumental. Wonder if the drums are looped or played. Who knows? Probably a drum loop of some sort. But it's good stuff. Good stuff from... okay, that's that. It's from Ash and Barky. Ash and Barky. So 2 people. I don't know. That's good. And let's move on. Okay. We need to mark that one like that. Sure. Cool. And the next submission form for today comes from Clang Farbin. Hey Accurate, I'm looking forward to today's beat review. This October I was a part of the Beattober challenge and made a beat and a video every single day on Instagram/YouTube. I think the one from October 11th was my best work. For this track I flipped the same song as Common did for his track I Used to Love Her. And I would like to receive you and the community's feedback. That's cool. Beatober is a lot of work making a beat and a video each and every single day. Could never happen from my part, but cool that you did. And let's listen to Clang Farbin right now. No, that's the wrong track. My bad. Clang Farbin, here we go. Cool. Maybe I'm just becoming crazy here, but it feels like we're getting a lot of stuff with a similar kind of vibe. This track and the last one, that Dumb Luck track, they could go on the same kind of EP, the same project, whatever. This is good. This is cool, nice and punchy. And if you, I mean, since you said that you made a beat since you said that you made a beat a day, I kinda, if I didn't know that, I wouldn't have said this, but right now it feels like it could be worked on a little bit more and finished, because maybe you stressed it out because it's one beat per day. I don't know. In this case, I mean, we have the chords, we have the drums, we have the bass line. It's nice and deep and it's nice and full. The drums are really punchy in a cool way that works. And you know, when you have guitar samples like that and chopping them up and doing it makes me think about like old school kind of hip hop from DJ Premier or something like that. This doesn't sound like Premier. That's not what I'm saying, but just that trick on like the pads going. What did he make it on? I don't know. Did he say? Did he say that? No, just that it's made for Beatober. And this is by Clang Farbin, who is in the chat, I think. So help us out. Please help us out, I should say. I've done something with my windows today. I like the vibe of this one a lot. This like serious, laid back, relaxing, kind of makes me think about the ocean kind of sound appeals to me a lot. I really enjoy it, and having those chords and those drums and that bass line and the guitar on top doing all sorts of small figures, it's great. And small touches like that, bling, bling, bling. I love it. And you know, the last track we heard had a lot of, or like one of the last ones, had a lot of layers to it in a way that kind of made everything just blend together. In this case, there's a better distinction between one thing and the other. And that's a different way of doing things. And I'm not saying that one is better than the other, but this has more punch and more of a hip-hoppy kind of vibe, beat makers kind of vibe to it. The snare drum really works for me, and all the stuff that's going on here is really impressive and cool. And again, makes me think about the ocean. And the rain. This is good. The hi-hat track almost becomes like white noise in a rhythmical kind of sense. That's something I never do myself, but the fact that you pulled it out and pulled it together like this and made it work like that is impressive to me. I think it's really cool. Clang Farbin made it on the MPC Key 37. Yeah, one of the best MPCs around, and it's right over there. Taken out of the studio for now, because we have the Live 3. This is a great beat. I don't know what to say in terms of feedback. Yeah, I have one thing in terms of feedback that I just need to mention. This thing right here, I know what you were going for, and I understand the thing, but I think it's too loud, too long, too crazy, doesn't fit in. That's what I think. Clang Farbin, a great freaking track. I don't have a lot of stuff to add to this one. Great job. That section right there, I don't get it, but other than that, awesome stuff. Thanks a lot for submitting, and thanks a lot for allowing me to say stuff about it. Now, let's check the inbox right now. It's 9:03. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 beats. So if I want to do as many as possible, I'm just going to have to take that one out. It can't, I can't accept more beats right now. We have too many to cover, and I need to speed things up. Again, I just have to. The next track comes from Lax22 in the chat. Yo, sampled some early 80s Italian Catholic stuff with plenty of vocals. Something different this time. It's the 4/4, quick mixing and no master, as per usual. Good luck with the stream tonight. Peace, Lax22. Okay, cool. Italian 80s Catholic stuff. What does that even mean? Let's listen to this track by Lax22 right now. yeah, nice and vibey, and you know, using that much vocals is sometimes kind of dangerous, but in this case it's really well balanced with everything else, that it just makes sense in the best way possible. But you pointed out yourself that you haven't done any mastering, and I think just brightening the entire, like, you know, from the mids, from the high mids and up, just brightening that up a little bit will take this one to the next level in terms of the sound of it. And I think that goes without saying, that's going to be fixed. But on the other end of the spectrum, in the low frequencies here, I feel like what I'm picking up here is just that the low end is a little bit rumbly. And with a sample like this entire thing could be really clean, you know, really clean and really polished, but it's not. Adding a little bit of polish could maybe help a little bit to clean up some of the muddiness in the bass frequencies. Rhythmically, everything just really works. There's a nice push and pull kind of balance between the drums and the sample in a way that is really beautiful, to be honest. But the muddiness in the bass line or in the bass frequencies, that kind of bugs me. I gotta be honest, it kind of does. Because the beat itself has so much potential to just be sitting perfectly in the right spot, and it doesn't really, because of the bass frequencies. The kick drum is really low and subby, and there's a lot of notes and stuff going on. Cleaning that up somehow with some EQ and some leveling, I think that really would help. That chord change. Dun, dun, dun. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, Lax22 is saying pretty poor quality on the source, so the beat suffers a bit from that. Yeah, sure. I know what you're saying. Samples like this can sound like absolute garbage, and you made something really cool out of it. 100%. But, you know, some EQing could fix a lot of stuff. Cleaning up the low frequencies a little bit, maybe in the arrangement, doing something, could help. And also just brightening up everything above the high mids, whatever. And the piano, the electric piano, the Rhodes or whatever it is, perfect. Good job. Really appreciate this one. The vibe of this was fantastic. I'm just trying to pick it apart and be like critical, you know me. Let's try to move on. Let's try to be a little bit quicker. From the next track. The next track comes from Atmosphere. I know I keep saying Atmosphere. Sorry, Atmosphere. Hope all is well. Everything is pretty well. I can't complain. Here's my submission. I hope you guys enjoy. Hopefully you play the full track. It's a little bit longer than usual, but really worth it. I went for something dark and mysterious. Okay, so if this one is too long, I'm gonna cut it off. If it's not too long, I'm gonna allow it. 2:45. I'm gonna allow that one. 2:45 is okay. We're gonna listen to the entire thing. We are freaking Windows there. Atmosphere. No, Atmosphere. The track is called What Epstein Files. Just leaving that right there. So, I said I was gonna try to move quickly, to move like, okay, I can't speak for shit. I said I'm gonna try to move more quickly through the tracks and through the feedback. In this case, you're really making my work really difficult. I gotta, I'm not gonna be that afraid anymore to be a little bit harsh about stuff. So here it goes. This track is totally amazing, fantastic, beautiful, with everything that's going on except from the super loud, like, aggressive drums to me. That kind of, can I be this harsh? That kind of destroyed it for me. Everything else, like the atmosphere, the different things going on, the reverbs, the entire like sound stage of it is awesome. I do love it. But the super loud drums that comes in and tries to make it into something else, it just doesn't fit in. Right here, this section right here is fantastic. That section before everything hits, so good. This could be an entire beat in itself, just a little bit louder with the rim shot and just adding a few really subby kicks and whatever. The bass. That's, to me, I see what you're going for. I know what you're trying to do, but to me, the mismatch between like the beautiful stuff that's going on with the like minimalistic kind of drums and everything, and then going bum, 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 on the same beat, that's not necessary to me. Because what I'm going to remember from this one as a casual listener is just this. Super crazy hi-hat, super crazy kick drum, super crazy high snare drum, and all this though. Everything in here that sounds like cinematic and atmospheric and a little bit experimental too, with some spicy notes in there, to me, couldn't be better. It couldn't. But then this section right here, I totally hate. I gotta be honest, I don't like that. Especially since you have so much genius stuff going on between those sections. And maybe I'm just a soft boy liking that stuff more than the aggression thing here, but it's, as an entire piece of music, it just doesn't feel balanced and cohesive. That's what I'm saying. And that's me trying to be harsh, The kick drum is devastating, says Made So Well. Yeah. Point taken. Who was this from? This was from someone we have on here. Atmosphere have made a lot of great submissions before, and this was also great, but I just don't play nice with that really aggressive section. Other than that, this is one of the best pieces of music we've had in this entire series. That's what I'm saying here. To me, if we just take those aggressive parts out, this is maybe the best piece of music I've heard on the series so far. So, take that with a grain of salt. Now, into the inbox. Going back from Atmosphere, Great job. I mean, well, whew. The next one comes from Made So Well. Made So Well in the chat room. And I think you gave me a super chat like half an hour ago. Let me go back to find that just because I forgot to mention it. We had a super chat. I think we had a super chat. I can't see right now, but I think we did. And I think it was from Made So Well. Hey, Ack. I was working on this composition I was going to send in, but ADHD kicked in when some challenged me to flip a bit they were flipping. Took about 30 minutes and then spent a lot of hours talking about it with several people. This morning, a friend sent me a sample of a bass patch they made on their new Prophet. That's nice. I realized that I hadn't actually added that bass in any kind of real way, so I slapped it into Ableton just to see if it fit, and it did. I time stretched it by half and scooped the mids. I also turned off my headphones EQ because apparently that's something I'm prone to forget now. It changed the initial vibe, so I sped it up 10 BPMs, like it generally speaking. It's a loop, not a full composition as I intended to submit. What you gonna do? Please, gang. Made So Well. So that's a long kind of explanation, but a lot of stuff going on, and this is apparently the outcome. So let's listen to Made So Well. Now, let's listen to Made So Well. Cool. Just a loop, but still valuable stuff. This one has a lot of potential. Keep working on this one and finish it and make sure that this becomes a full composition, a full track. The textures going on here, like between the vocal sample that comes in maybe too often, maybe too much, maybe not, and then the piano with the call and response kind of thing. To me, it's beautiful. That's what music is all about. Finding that balance and being that nuanced and kind of like knowing what you're doing in this kind of way really, really does a lot of heavy lifting for a composition like this. 100%. The drums fits really well into it. But, obviously there's some EQing that needs to happen here. As I always say, brighten things up. Don't be afraid of adding treble to stuff. Treble is what makes things pop. Bass is the foundation. The mids and the highs is you know, the shine of anything. So this one needs to be EQ'd, I think. But what we had here, the vocal, the piano, the bass, I think. Yeah. And I think those drum sounds is definitely a good match to this musical content, because the sample and, you know, the piano and the vocals really sets a tone of this like mysterious, kind of dark, kind of beautiful, kind of cozy vibe. And then the drums hits it in a way that makes sense. The drums doesn't necessarily just fit the vibe, because if they did, it wouldn't have much of a personality. But now with these kinds of drums and this groove, it definitely has a personality, and this one deserves to be worked on until it's totally finished and mixed and anything. Because this one has a lot of potential, and I'm a huge fan of the work you put into this, adding samples that people send to you, and a bass line from the trumpet, from the Prophet. I mean, it's good. It's really good. I changed the initial vibe, so I sped it up by 10 BPMs. Sure, I could imagine this 10 BPM lower with a different kind of vibe, but I think this makes sense. It feels cinematic and friendly in a cool way, without being like, you know, it's good. Made so well. I like it. Heading off early, Chris52. Peace out. See you on Saturday for D&D. And I'm gonna reply to the group chat too. Made so well, made a beat so well. Now we have way too many beats, I think, but we're gonna keep at it. We're gonna move through this. The next beat comes from Symphonic Beats, who says, "Hello, accurate. I hope all is well. I've always stuck mostly to using samples and getting creative with them. But you, amongst others, have inspired me to go beyond that and compose more." What? This one is built around a vocal sample. It's more simplistic and likely not done yet, but really looking forward to your thoughts. You know, stuff like that actually means a lot. You, amongst some others, have inspired me to go beyond that and compose more. That's nice. Thanks a lot for pointing that out. I also sample a lot, but I try to do a little bit of composition around my samples. Cool that you acknowledged that and took something away from it. Which means we're going to play the next track from Symphonic Beats as soon as my computer works. Which is right now. Symphonic Beats, let's go. Yes. Thanks a lot for this one, Symphonic Beats. I mean, you said that you based the beat around a vocal sample and then did composing around that. And to me, if the sample is this, when you wanna go, dum, 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 I think you did a great job here. Nice and tasteful, and you know, those sounds and all the air candy going on really helps out a ton. So if the only sample you kind of worked with here to make this happen is this vocal sample, I think you made a terrific. I think you did a really great job of adding stuff to this that just added and complemented the vibe and just made sense. And that's powerful, you know? And this was 2 minutes, and it didn't feel like that. It's nice and light and well produced in so many ways. And leaving like long sections like this without using the vocal sample is such a nice touch, because the sample here makes it feel repetitive, and it's not because you have this big section without it and then it comes back like a chorus kind of thing. I think that's perfect. If you're comfortable with using samples and just adding instruments to that and just hearing, yeah, that note worked and that one too, I could do this and that, that takes your production to the next level for sure. And you pointed that out. This is a great example of it. A nice drum groove too. Everything fits together. This is great. And this is a perfect example of taking a pretty simple musical idea that's dum dum dum. It's not a lot of notes, not a lot of chords, but it's still interesting and fun to listen to, and it's cohesive and nice and simple, and boom, like it. Great job, Symphonic Beats. Keep, you're onto something really good here. And the ear candy and the stuff that's going on makes it fun to listen to. It did not feel like 2 minutes. Good job, Symphonic. I don't have a lot of bad stuff to say about that one whatsoever. Good job. Good job. Why do I have 51 emails? Why do I have 51 emails? Oh, some old ones that hasn't been read. My bad. I don't have 51 submissions. No. But we still have a lot of stuff to go through. The next one comes from Carbon Vibes, who says, "This is from last month's challenge. As always, thanks for all you do." This is from last month's challenge. So are we talking like Halloween theme? That's 2 weeks ago. Technically, that's last month. Carbon Vibes. Let's listen to your piece of music.
Your art is your expression, and your expression is your art.
Carbone.
Okay, so this was your submission for some kind of sample flip beat making challenge. That's cool. And you snuck another beat in there, so it's 2 for 1, and I think it's cool. Now, the first one compared to the second one, I think the second one is my favorite if I had to pick one.
Your art.
Maybe not. No, I think I like this more. I think I like that more. Someone mentioned Premiere, and yeah, it has a little bit of that bounce to it. I think if I get to be picky here, I think I wanted to have even more swing, or having the swing of the drums matching how the sample plays in a slightly different way. There's a little bit of a mismatch there between the swing amount and the feeling and like the groove. Hard to put my finger on exactly what it is, but it fits good together. But could it be even? You know what? It's just a matter of taste. I think I would, if I made this one, I think I would do it a few BPMs faster, just to really... The sample is beautiful. But honestly, when it comes to this type of production, which I'm a huge fan of, this is what I used to do myself all the time. Maybe a little bit faster in terms of BPM, maybe a little bit different kind of swing, having a little bit more, I don't know. But most of all, it feels like it lacks something. If this is a beat for like rappers to freestyle rap on top of, it's supposed to be just like this. You don't need to do anything else. But if you wanted it to be like more interesting, just as it is, as its own piece of work, since you have a lot of space in there, and I noticed that you filled some of them out with some stuff that's too low in volume, cranking that up maybe would change it all, or adding something else, because now we have the dum dum, dum 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 down there. What Premiere normally does for stuff like that is he has that going on, dum dum, dum 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 dum, wah wah dum 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 dum, dum dum, you know, something on top to contrast that, like a call and response kind of thing between the bass notes going like dum 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 dum, and then something huge, like his cash register kind of thing. Those brass hits, pack, that's a part of it. I'm talking about something like that, but maybe even a little bit more. Because we're talking about dynamics a lot, right? In terms of volume, we need high volume and low volume to have like a dynamic kind of thing. But I think it's also important, and it makes sense to sometimes think about long sounds and short sounds. And the layers with the organ, beautiful. But what I'm saying here is that we have a lot of short sounds. We have a lot of punchy like hits. Maybe somewhere we need something that's a little bit more sustained, a little bit more dragged out, just to have dynamics in terms of the length of the notes, basically. You know, a guitar riff, a flute, something that just counteracts. You know what I'm talking about? It needs some scratching. Yeah, that could be really cool for this one too. Scratching is definitely a thing. Carbon Vibes also showed up with a sticker. Appreciate the feedback. I want to finish them. Please do. Please do. And, adding something in the lines of that brass, the high-pitched brass thing, but allow that to take a little bit more space in terms of the length of the note. I don't know. Woo! Let's move along. I keep talking too much. I talk too much. Yeah, I do. Now we have a beat from Vincent. Hi, Accurate. Here's a beat I've made this morning on Machine Mark III. I hope you'll enjoy. Thanks for your work. Thanks for your work. Thanks for submitting your work to me, to my work. 14 horns. And that one got lost. No. Vincent. Let's go. Huh? What? Didn't we just hear this one? Am I tripping? Vincent, 14 Horns of War. Show and Finder. No, they're both from today. One was an hour ago? Oh, okay, hold on. Hold on, I'm messing things up somehow. Vincent, 14 Horns of War. It's right there. I downloaded it now, 9/41, and also 2020. So this one has been played. Oh, what? Okay, so it's that one, and also am I tripping? Haven't we already played that one? I think we have. Can't find that email though. And I guess if I go back into the chat room, you guys are telling me all about this. So let's do that. That was the beat before mine. Yes, it was. Icon 74. Okay, let's find you in here. Okay, my bad. He has submitted twice. Okay. Sorry, that took a lot of time. But he has been played. Another one from Blaze Beats. Blaze Beats says, just wanted to send in a chill loop. Yeah, thanks for doing so. We're going to open this one up. We're going to add it to VLC. The next submission comes from Blaze Beats. Let's go. Yo. You know, this one kind of takes me back to when we first started the Move Cut Clone kind of collective. And a friend of mine made a lot of beats that sounded kind of like this, and I was always a little bit jealous that I wasn't able to get that kind of swing and get that kind of vibe of it. You know, beatmakers always talks about Jay Dilla, maybe for good reason, but this actually makes me think of Jay Dilla for real. In a good way, but it's cleaner and it's, you know, polished and whatever. This is good stuff. This is hands down good stuff. It's a loop that could be developed into something way stronger and better. But you know, chords like this, drums like this, and also that kind of reverse kind of trick is really cool. It's really fun, it's really cool, it's really in the ballpark of this Jay Dilla inspired type of beats. I try to stay away from talking about Jay Dilla too much because everyone else does. But this, I can't deny it. And it's a nice blend between the bass line and the groove and the chords, and then also this just ayo sample helps a lot, and then a little bit of tension. With that sustained chord that just disappears. This is great. This is spot on. If I wanted to be critical, I could say something about the hi-hat being a little bit too loud, but the hi-hat is also one of the things that's really cool when you flip it and reverse it. Love the snare drum. I would like the hi-hats to be a little bit lower in volume, but you know. This is good stuff. And this one came in from Blaze Beats, who is in the chat and says thank you. Yeah, I guess you were trying to go for a Jay Dilla kind of style here, and I think you did a great job of it. And it takes me back to my time with the collective where people like bounce ideas off each other and had the best time ever. This is close to my heart. This feels good. It's a nice track. You said it's not finished and it's a loop, so I think you should take the time to work on this one and finish it, and it will be just great. Thanks a lot for the submission, Blaze Beats. Awesome stuff right there. Let's move into the next one that comes from Ricky, who says, love your channel, and then just sends a beat. And that's good enough. You know, you don't always have to be talking as much as I do. In this case, we just have a beat from Ricky. Let's go. Yeah, cool. Another one of those beats with like this massive switch up that pretty much becomes a different track. Let's rewind and play the first part again. Cool drum fill. But honestly, okay, a few things. Let's move quickly. The first half of it, nice and cinematic and kind of heroic and cool. In terms of the sound of it, it feels pretty electronic in a way that works, but if you could switch it up to make it less electronic, I think it would benefit from that. And that 1980s kind of snare, I'm not sure about that, but beautiful chords, beautiful progression, and it's nice like that, but some things could be improved with the overall sound of everything. I like that filter out section. He's called Wonder Malt in the chat. I don't like that snare either. And those noises and stuff you added, nice touch, but way too loud. You definitely have a good ear for the bass line. The bass line here sits perfectly. It's a weird kind of relationship with the minor and the major of it. I don't know about the vibe and the feel of it, but yeah, two solid productions. The first one could be less electronic, and the second one kind of the same. It's electronic in a way that's not super appealing, but it's an aesthetic, you know? So who am I to say anything about that? And there's cars in the background, there's birds in the background, you know. It's sampled into the SP44 and sequenced. Huh. Why does it sound this electronic? But beautiful chords, beautiful musical information. I just think the production when it comes to the actual sound selection or sound designing could be changed in a way that gives it more of a grown-up kind of serious vibe, and I think it would help. That's what I'm going to say about that. But great job. 2 submissions in one. It's not bad. And that's from Ricky. Cool. Thanks a lot for sending it in. The next one comes from... I should know this. Renee. I should know what your actual beat tag is, but I can't remember right now. There's too many people. That's a great problem to have. Hey, Ack. Long time no play. This week I'm going to submit a beat I made the last days. It's all done on the OPXY, I think. From Renee. What's your name in the chat? Help me out. Is this Kane TV? Oh, I can't remember. Such a bad host. Sorry about that. Did you say who you are in the chat room? Maybe next time. Begsenaken. Maybe next time. Then. It's too late to send in beats. Yeah, still, I already have too many. I'm sorry. If that's what you're talking about. Now, Renee, let's go. So yeah, this is from Kane TV in the chat. I was right eventually. So Kane TV did not make this one on the OPXY, made this one on the SP44. And I feel like I've heard this before. I might be wrong. Let's go. Badab. The file name is badabum. Badabum. Yeah, man. We've had this one before. Okay. I received this one on the 28th of July this year. 28th of July. This one should have been played. Because I feel like I remember it. And you sent 2 emails, this one and another one, and this one has been submitted before, 100%. But yeah, the bass line, the wonkiness of it and the pitch shifting, nice. The mixing could be brighter, but the vibe, it's good. That's a nice touch. The bass line is really good. But yeah, I'm just gonna move along because that one has been played before. So let's... Unfortunately, Kane TV, I'm not gonna check your other one. Okay. It's the next email, but yeah, I'm sorry. We're gonna move on to the next one because we have so many. So I think that's the best thing to do, to just move on with someone else. This one comes from Boonsire. Boosire. Boosire. Why is my volume changing on my monitor? That's crazy. From Boosire, from France. Hey, Accurate. I love putting this show... love putting on this show to fall asleep and actually listen for 2 hours instead. Haha. Here's some rock for a change. Not really mixed yet, but passable. Okay, rock music. We haven't talked a lot about rock music and my relationship to that, but let's just say I'm not a fan. Let's give this one a try though. From Booire. Okay, cool. So I get the idea, and that was 2 minutes and 16 seconds, whatever. Everyone says that this sounds like The Cure, and I don't know The Cure. I don't know this type of music much at all, but back in the day before I kind of found myself, and no, that's not true. Way back in the day, I used to go to a school, like equivalent to high school, I think, aimed towards media production and whatever. So we did a little bit of music and a little bit of radio and whatever, and you know, the teachers had us working on stuff that's out of our ballpark and stuff. This is way back in the day. And they had us working on some ABBA covers and some stuff from other stuff. So I know a few things from back in the day, but you know, producing music like this is definitely a different thing than making beats, but there are connecting factors. So someone also mentioned Aha, you know, the Norwegian 80s kind of band. I don't know The Cure. No, I don't. But yeah. This feels like a song that's better than the production. Or like the musical, the chord progressions and the bass line and everything has a different kind of potential than what the production brings out. Maybe I'm wrong in that, but that's the way I feel right now. These kind of 80s inspired drums really sets the tone and places the entire production in a category where I'm not sure that it belongs. This one could be produced in a way that makes the entire thing a little bit more serious, you know? Taking down the BPM just a few notches and just overall getting a more modern kind of, not a dirty kind of rock sound, but still avoiding this kind of Aha take on me kind of vibe. But I'm not sure. Maybe if that's what you're going for, it could really work. I don't know this genre much at all, but It would be interesting to hear this produced in a whole different way. The chords and the guitars and everything sounds cool, and you know, the effects and the atmosphere and everything that's going on, it's not bad, but switching it up in a way that feels more interesting and maybe more grown up and serious would make this one appeal to me more. And I'm not a rock kind of guy. A lot of flanger and chorus and stuff going on. It's not bad. It's not my type of music. And also, the bass line is also what's setting that kind of 1980s kind of vibe. And I'm not totally hating on that, but I think the track here, the song that you're writing, has potential to become something else. RA Sharpness says it was a fire production. I loved great vibe and nostalgic as fuck. Great job. So maybe I'm just not on the right track about this. I think it would be interesting to have this one sounding differently. The Cure made Boys Don't Cry. I know that. I know Boys Don't Cry. You know, I have a daughter who's really into Stranger Things, so I know. Let's move on, because I'm not like, I'm not the guy to talk about this kind of stuff, even though I think it would be more interesting in a different kind of style. That's what I'm saying. The next track comes from Clang Farbin. You've been played today, haven't you? Yes, you have. And you sent it before and then you sent it again. I know. But we're going to move on. Tyrone. TY Beats. Thai Beats. The track is called Food. This beat has been made and inspired by this beat review show. This would be a minimalistic drum beat over a sample with the kick drum side-chained to the sample with the bass. The drums are made from scratch and I added a vocal. Yeah. And a scratch sample with effects on it for the hook. Cool! So you made a beat inspired by this beat review show? How does that even work? That's interesting. Let's listen to Thai Beats with the track Food. That's way louder, so let me just... So you don't have to do too much adjustments on your side. Now. Yeah. So Ty Beat says this is a sample and he just made the drums. I don't know how that works, but in this case, the bass line is like the main character here. Love the bass line, love the vibe of the entire thing. And, you know, a deep bass line like that's really like melodic and interesting, together with those flute kind of things and the drums, makes the entire thing into this nice and perfectly crafted little piece of music. Nothing too complicated, nothing too, you know, crazy. Maybe you could switch it up a little bit with some more like parts of a B section or a breakdown. That sticks out a little bit more, but it's nice. And I liked the touch of that ride cymbal. We don't hear ride cymbals we hear that to, we don't often hear a ride cymbal added like that, and it really works in this case. Salute to you. The bass is a sample, okay? In that case, you found a really great sample. Hands down, that's a really great sample, and you put some drums on it. Maybe I like whenever people do a little bit more than that, if the bass line and the flute and everything is one thing, and you just add drums to it. But sometimes you find a loop that's perfect enough, and you just need to add drums. And in that case, that's all you gotta do. That's all you need to. But we are running out of time here, guys. We are. And we still have $12 beats. And I've said that from the get-go. I can't promise to play everything always. I just can't. But in this case, let's move through a few more. This is from She Lingual, or Puerto Ricanism. First time I came with a 130 BPM track. Today I try to stick to the theme. New to the stream, thanks for doing what you do. Judge me harshly. Okay, will do. Grime 86 BPM. So if your last submission was 130, this is 86. So that's going to be different. Let's have a listen to this. Yeah, okay, cool. That's a nice piece of music. I could hear so many of my favorite rappers on top of that one, for sure. This is really, really cool. And to me, it's always impressive when people find sounds that goes together that kind of shouldn't. Because if you just imagine what you just heard, would you place that kind of bass note in there? I don't think you would. This guy did. This is Prism, Puerto Ricanism in the chat. PR Prism. I mean, this is cool. And the contrast of the different elements is what makes the entire thing work. It takes a little bit of balls to do that. It takes a little bit of courage, but it's cool. And this is what I talked about for another track. This is what I talked about for another track. Having some sounds that are really short and punchy, and some stuff that just drags out. Having a dynamic and a balance between the two. You did a great job of just that, and it makes sense what I said before when you listen to this. One thing I think could be cool with this one is to lower the tempo even more and really lean heavily into this mysterious, dark kind of vibe of it. Because now it feels like it's a little bit of that, but also a little bit of swing and a little bit of, attitude. So to me, maybe just taking down the tempo a little bit, leaning into the evilness of it, adding the swing in maybe a little bit of a different way. Hi-hats, I'm not sure about them. Love the bass notes. Sorry, I don't know if I muted or not. Yeah. This is good stuff. Love the vibe, love the production. Don't love the hi-hat. I really don't. It's way too loud and too in your face. But the different layers, the different bling, leaves a lot of space for a rapper, leaves a lot of space for thoughts, and this is good stuff. Accurate. What tempo do you suggest? I don't know. What tempo is this? Sons of Man and Kill Army was in heavy rotation for the 90s for me. Okay. Beat Owl, peace out. See you in 2 weeks. I don't know the tempo of this, and I don't know what you need to change it to. It's just a suggestion from my part to try to lean in more to the openness and the mysteriousness and, Eminem, JC, Renegade, that kind of vibe, because the sounds and everything are there. But yeah, this one sounds like it could become like an underground kind of hit. I think it's 86 or 84. It's got it in the title. Yeah, it's 86. It says 86 in the title. '86 is not really slow, but it's hard for me to say. Go down to like 82 and maybe pitch everything down and see if it changed. I don't know. I might be wrong. This is good. This is good as it is. A solid production, hands down. This is good stuff. I really like this one. Personally, for my musical taste, I really, really love this one. Great job. Prism. And aren't you the same guy who used to use like caps lock for everything in the chat room, being a little bit obnoxious? Thanks a lot for stopping that and submitting a beat and becoming a part of it. Awesome. Now we have another track from someone called Payton. Hey Accurate, I submitted a beat a long time ago that ended up on a video. Here's something I made more recent. Thank you for everything you do for the producers. We all appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. This is from Payton. The track is called 6.wave. And I can't download it. Shared in Drive. Oh, my bad. There's an actual link too. Okay. It downloaded. Yeah. So now I have 3 versions of that file. That's good. Let's listen to Payton. It's called 6. Okay. I made a mistake. There we are. Let's go. Again, another submission with a lot of interesting layers to it that kind of adds to the entire thing sounding well produced and just good. Now, my points of feedback for this one is, again, going to be a little bit harsh. First of all, nice and beautiful. Sets the tone. A reversing a crash cymbal like that is just, you know, we don't do that anymore for a good reason. To me, it's just corny, you know. But it sounds good. It is good, and there's a lot of great qualities in here. One thing I would change if I did this myself is like the double hit on the snare drum for each and every hit. Having a section with, like, you know, take out every other hi-hat hit and just make the snare hit once a few times in the track would just help me digest the entire thing. sometimes I feel like there's a little bit of a clash between the bass note and what's going on with the really beautiful, really nicely chopped up and edited sample. In terms of the note, it doesn't feel like it's always in tune, which is irritating. And that vocal is such a nice touch. Such a nice touch. Nice and beautiful, dreamy in a way that's really interesting. It feels cinematic and kind of nice in so many ways. But the reversed crash cymbal and the double hit on the snare, can't forget about that. So many layers of beautiful stuff just mushed together. This is a good and solid track. Just in terms of my personal musical taste, I think a reversed crash cymbal is... we have moved past that. And the double hit on the snare, just leaving it single, honestly, most of the times, would just create more space and allowing the listener to really dive into this atmospheric, dreamy kind of state. So that's Payton Mott in the chat room. Thanks a lot. Thanks for submitting this one, and it's a good listen. It's a good listen. It fits well into any kind of movie or commercial or whatever. Forget what I said about the pitch. Maybe I was wrong. I'm tired and I've listened to a lot of music, so I might be wrong. Payton, thanks a lot for that one. And you sent this one to both my emails. You don't have to. Just use the beatreview@accuratebeats.com email. That's the one I'm checking. Now let's move along to another one. Let's move into a track from AG Boy. AG Boy. Hello, sir. How are you today? I'm hoping you're well. I am pretty well. Becoming sick, so I'm not that well, but yeah, whatever. I missed the last Halloween program. Since we're still kinda in the season, I thought I'd send something similar. Here's a not too spooky beat made with Logic plugins. Cool. Shared via iCloud, and that's the file right there. And here we are. Boom. Straight into VLC. No hesitation. Let's just listen to this track from... okay, a little bit of hesitation. AG Boy. Let's go!
Super, ultra, magic, wave.
Okay, I think we got it then. That's way more than 2 minutes of it. You know what? This to me feels like some type of old school house producer wanting to go down in tempo and into the realm of this school of beat making, and I don't hate it. You know, when we talk about music in general, it's easy to like ask oneself, you know, what's the purpose of this track? Why did I make this, and how are people supposed to enjoy it? To me, the answer is often like you're supposed to just listen to it as an instrumental, and that's what it's supposed to be. Sometimes it's made for a rapper, sometimes it's made for a movie, sometimes it's made for dancers, I don't know. This one makes me think. Because using this one as like the background track for a movie scene makes sense. Listening to this one as an individual piece of music, just without anything else, to me it's too sparse. It's too minimalistic. It's too open. It doesn't have enough, to me, it doesn't have enough of moving parts to be interesting. And I am a little bit harsh now, I know, but we are coming towards the end. We've done this for 2.5 hours now. It's not bad. I mean, the whole vibe of it with the delays and the reverbs and the atmosphere and stuff, it's cool. But I have a little bit of a hard time understanding what this is. The bass line and like the musical values here, doom, 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 doom. It's simple in a way that's, you know, it could be developed into something better, I think. Something more busy, more involved, more, you know. This is from Adam. He was in the chat. Adam AG Boy. I mean, it's good. It has a lot of flavor and a lot of style to it, but someone like me just wants more musicality out of it. Because just those simple bass notes could be combined with so much more stuff that makes it like interesting. The drums and everything, there's a lot of cool layers going on, and you do know your production style 100%. Prism, accurate with the stamina on the strings. You've been working out? No, but I've lost 16 kilos. Without working out a single minute. Adam says, I can understand. To be honest, I don't think too much when I make beats. It's just to do whatever that comes. Yeah. And you did a great job. I think this is good. But it could be added upon. You know, you could add something. Those vocal things and everything, it's cool, but maybe some proper chords underneath it all, maybe some obvious melodies somewhere. I don't know. Just feels a little bit minimalistic in maybe not the best way. Let's move along. You do have an ear for this and it sounds good. It's just me wanting more of everything. Now, the next beat comes from Real Dean. Here's my beat. The original length of the beat is 2:47, but I submitted a shorter version of it. The beat was created on my MPC and arranged in Ableton. So it's 2:47 and you made it shorter just for me. I really appreciate that. That's cool. Now let's open this one up in VLC and have a listen to Real Dan. When it rains there.
Watch as I strike with both hands holding a single blade. And end this game once and for all, Afro Samurai. See you in
Ah, that's the end of it.
Watch as I
The first thing that hits me with this one is that it's beautiful and vibey and cool and nice, and it lacks a proper bass line. It doesn't. The bass line is there, I just want more of it because it's cool. And you know, I can't avoid the fact that it goes from bring to bring back to bring. You know, simplistic is not bad. It's not. Minimalistic and simplistic is cool. Leave it simple. I get it. But as a musician and a producer myself, I can't not notice that it's going between two. You know, it's not bad, and it's not like that's the end of the world. It's just two chords going back and forth. That's fine because the production itself holds up, and it's interesting enough for me to still be engaged and kind of enjoy it. Mostly because of the different samples coming in and out. You know, the small, tiny chops of vocal samples going like, bring, hey, hey. It's a nice touch. I appreciate it. I like it a lot. But since we have this simple chord progression between 1 and 2, I think the bass line deserves to have a little bit more space to actually create tension and some kind of togetherness between the two chords. The bass line is there and it's doing it, but I just want more of it in terms of volume. That's nice. I did not notice that the first time, sorry. But that little guitar figure right there adds a ton. Use more of that. More of that. And obviously, the drums here are fantastic. That snare roll thing, come, awesome. I think the missing element is the voice/story. I don't know what that means. Well, I think that's what I have to say. The drums, fantastic. Everything here is cool. I want more bass line and maybe more of that guitar figure that really mixes it up, because it feels a little bit, I'm going here, I'm going here, I'm going here, you know, that kind of vibe. Working with two chords is not necessarily bad, but you can make more out of it by, you know what I'm saying. Real Dan, thank you for coming back from your meeting to check this out. But yeah, the small things with like vocals like that just adds so much. How a simple musical idea can still become really interesting is cool to me. The next track comes from Mike, M-A-I-K. Says, hi Accurate, I hope you're doing well. My name is Mike. Okay, artist name P-Range4. P.Rage4. Not range, rage. P-Rage4 from Germany. I've been making sample-based beats since 2010 using Machine, started with MK1 and now Studio, together with Complete Control S25 and S88 MK2. Yeah, the Complete Control S88 MK2, that's a beast of a keyboard. Would be dope if you could give the beat a spin during your review session. And I can. That's what I'm here for. P Rage 4. P Rage 4 with a track called, I'm not even gonna try, GTN Remix 1 Instrumental Rework. Okay. There we are. Let's fucking go. Okay. Cool. Okay, cool. So to me, like this track right here is, to me, kind of a study in sound design more than anything else. Someone said I like the bass. Yeah, me too. But in terms of the musicality here, we had bass and rhythm and sounds. And as I said, like when we're talking about sound design, this was P Rage. Let's find that one again. There. We have a really interesting drum groove and we have a bass line. And then we have, I mean, I shouldn't say that it's just a bunch of noise, because it's not. It's actually kind of involved in pretty beautiful sound design. But in terms of musicality, a part of me, personally, I like melodic musical stuff more than anything else. Now, this is really cool and really interesting for what it is. And it really works, again, in a movie or something like that. 100%. But as its own piece of music for me to just enjoy, well, if I'm like walking in the rain or just, you know, reading a book or whatever that's not super involved, this has a function, 100%. But I would just love to have a few chords, maybe, or some kind of melody, maybe, just some obvious notes that counteracts with the bass. Because when it all comes down to it, it's bass and it's drums and it's a bunch of sounds and a lot of textures and stuff, and that's interesting in itself. So many cool things going on with the drums, and using an 808 like this, I mean, a lot of people are using 808s in ways that doesn't make sense, and it's just not good. Here you have a kick drum and an 808 drum that makes everything cool together with a bass line, and that's impressive. To me, this is more impressive than it's actually good, if that makes sense. And I know some new school kind of, you know, the third wind of boom bap rappers or whatever, raps on stuff like this. To me, it becomes, you know, it's too much tension and it's too weird to make sense. But that's me being really specific in what I like. When it comes to production, you know, the production value here is high. Do I want some more melodic stuff? Yeah. Because I'm a sucker like that, that's me. In terms of production and the sound of this is good stuff. RA Sharpness says it's best. It's art. And it is. It's art. So as its own piece of art, hands down, this is good. So many interesting sounds, so many interesting noises coming in and out and just adding so much. Do I still want more musicality? Yes, because I'm a sucker. But that's my problem, not yours. Great job, and thanks for sending this one in from Mike, or P Rage 4, I should say. P.Rage 4. So let's move on to another one. I've said that I'm going to do this for 2 hours and it's almost been 3. I'm not going to be able to play everything. I'm just not. No. Let's go for 2 more. Randomly. And I'm sorry, everyone's not going to be played. If that makes you really disappointed, you know, mention that in the chat. I'm not impossible, but I gotta go to bed sometime, you know. If you're really disappointed in not being covered, please mention that in the chat in a way that makes sense and it's serious for real. Right now, we're gonna play RA Sharpness, who says, something I'm working on. Just like that. Something I'm working on, and it's a file. RA Sharpness 143 D minor yearly timeout. So, okay, are we dealing with 143 BPM? Am I gonna shit my pants? Who knows? RA Sharpness, let's go. Okay, let's... it becomes louder. Okay, let's go. Fuck. Sorry about the volume. We have to restart. It's silent from the beginning and then it comes... hold on. Gonna mute. Oh yeah. I think we got to think about this in a few different ways, because the mixing is probably not done, and like the mastering process or whatever you do. So the dynamics between like the quiet part without the drums and then the louder part with everything is way too crazy. Even in the middle here, the section without the drums, I felt like, yeah, the track is over. It's not much happening. And then it came back. So that needs to be fixed a little bit, I think. But the overall like patterns of the arpeggios and stuff that goes on here, it feels really cool and feels really good. And I do not hate this whatsoever. But the obvious problem with the mix here is also that like the bass line, the bass drum becomes way too distorted and it doesn't fit with anything else. If you want that to be distorted and overdriven and stuff, I understand that, but in this context it becomes too much and crazy to me. It feels like those bass notes wants to be an 808, but it's not an 808, it's something else. But everything we hear fits nicely together and it makes sense and it's good. The distortion on the bass thing stands out too much to me, but the overall like oriental kind of vibe with the percussion and with the arpeggio, it's nice. It's cool. It has personality and there's a lot of room for someone in here to do something. It's something I'm working on. Yeah, so it's not finished. I see. This is what I'm talking about. This is too quiet and too minimalistic. I would try to add something, just a steady hi-hat, just telling the listener that, yeah, we're still playing music, it's still here. Just keeping the pulse of it somehow before it comes back to this thing. And the flutes and stuff in the background, it adds a lot of stuff to it. This is good. This is good, but I would love to hear this one at a finished state. You know? Lower notes paired with the guitar. Yeah, maybe just to fill it out a little bit more. But in this kind of genre, I know having stuff that's really dry is what you do. So if I made this, I would try to add like a few fundamental chords in the background to just add that foundation. But that's not always what you do in this genre. So just leaving it open-ended like this would make sense. But I think the bass line and how the bass sound is worked on needs to be changed up somehow with the rest of the stuff to make it cohesive. The snare drum is a little bit loud too, but you know, let's move along. That was an interesting submission for sure. Like the vibe of it, the samples, everything that it made was cool. So let's do one more. And it's actually not that many tracks that aren't going to be played, but there are some. There are some. And of course, we have a few names here I haven't seen before, I think. he hits up chat though. We're talking about me. I'm gonna read up on the chat a little bit to see if anyone's really disappointed to not be played. Oh, that sounded like Bolo? Yeah, maybe it did. Maybe it did. That's the kind of stuff he makes. Sure. I don't use samples. Yeah, it kind of sounded like it. Well, yeah, it doesn't seem to be a lot of people that are upset about it, anything. So let me play one more from someone called... Okay, this is one person in 2 emails. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's actually not that many beats that's not going to be played. Let's open up this one from... I recognize this one. Buckshot. Buckshot Jerry is going to be played as the last track for today. Who says, hello... What? What are you saying? Hello, beat. Glad to be back. Okay. Like every time I submit, guess the sample. This one has a change of beat at the 2-minute mark. So play a little bit of the first verses, then skip to the 2-minute mark to hear the transition for the stakes of time. Okay, so we're going to listen to like a minute at first and then jump into 2 minutes. I could do that. I know my way around the VLC media player. Buckshot Jerry. Where did you end up? Over there. Okay. Okay. Ah, shit. I don't know what happened there. I played the entire thing. 3.5 minutes. I mean, this was an interesting audio file. Again. That's nice and beautiful and laid back and relaxed, and then I think the transition was really cool. If we're thinking about this in terms of like a beat tape you're supposed to listen to at length, like the entire thing from start to finish, I think the transition and everything is cool. Now, having this first section that's kind of straightforward, kind of easy to listen to. This. It's nice. Would I love to hear that section like worked on for a few more hours with a proper bass line and just a little bit more punch, but still using that sample? Yeah, that could be cool. It's not bad as it is. It's nice and dreamy and flowy and has a cool vibe to it. And then the contrast between the two sections is interesting and cool, but just in itself, this section right here to me, it becomes, I don't know, I don't like it. It's something about the vibe that feels like pressured in a way that makes me feel uncomfortable, which is not bad from an art kind of perspective. If that's what you're trying to aim for, you kind of hit the head on the nail, and it's really good. But it's uncomfortable, it's not nice. You know, I like stuff to be somewhat nice, even if I can accept a little bit of tension and some sour notes and whatever. This feels, it's loud, it's punchy, it's frustrating, it's kind of like getting to me. And in contrast to the first section, I know what you did. I know what you're doing here, and I see the point of doing this. But if I wanted to judge and listen to this, nah, I don't know. As an entire piece of music, thought about as art, it's interesting, it's good. As a beat, as a piece of music in itself, it's Icon 74 very jarring. Yeah, it is. I'm not a huge fan of it. This works. And the transition feels like a properly done DJ mix. But yeah, it's difficult. Clang Farbin says accurate. It was very nice once again. Thanks for hearing all your stuff and give us producer nerds a platform to talk to another one. Thanks, man, and good night. He replied. Who replied? Someone replied to something. You know, this is the end of the show. Someone said something about being upset about not being played, and I asked him if that was for real, and I never got an answer from Royal PK. So I don't know. If Royal PK is really disappointed and wanted to be played and hasn't been, I'm sorry about that. I could see myself playing one more if that's the case, if I wanted to make someone happy, but yeah, you know. You never replied to the chat, so I don't know what to do. I think it's time to go to bed and say goodnight for today. I love that Accurate always gets confused with my confused on my submissions. Buckshot Jerry, yeah, sure. Don't take offend, please. Don't take that as a negative thing, because music is art and it's supposed to push buttons sometimes. And to me, the second part of that submission makes me upset in a way that's special. And it's cool. And PK, whatever it was, doesn't seem to respond now either. So let's just call it a night and just be done with this one and be back in 2 weeks with another episode of the Beat Review live stream. Because I enjoy doing this. I think it's really cool. And I'm going to keep doing it like we've done it right now, that you can't submit before the actual show goes live. Prism says, Accurate, play one of your beats that fits tonight's vibe. Yeah, I'm not gonna. How many people do we have here right now? Just a few of you. Cool, because we're rounding it out. Let me say this. I'm working on a project right now that I'm not gonna share until it's totally finished. But I am working on a project, and it's going to be finished, and whenever it is, I'm going to play it for everyone. But today, I'm not going to share any of my beats. Maybe I'll do a live stream tomorrow, just making some stuff on the MPC. Or I'm just going to sit here quietly and work on my stuff, because I have a project going on. So that's something. But, guys, thanks a lot for tonight. Thanks a lot for hanging out. Thanks a lot for submitting all the beats. And we are again, I have this VLC media player now with all the tracks we played, and it's been a lot of great ones for sure. Let's see how many we did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. That's 25 beats. Yeah, 20. Did I say 25 or 21? I don't know. A lot of tracks, and that's what it is for today. Thanks a lot for hanging out. I'm gonna go to bed and apparently go take out the trash first of all. I got a text. So that's it. Thanks a lot, and peace the fuck out.